welcome to you all. I'm Samantha Watson, and I'm here to talk to you about marketing matters and why marketing matters. I chose marketing as the topic of my project because I'm on the yearbook staff, and one of the things that I love most about that is seeing other people enjoy our product. But the only way to do that is to make sales, and the key to all sales is marketing. So this is an example of an advertisement for the best deal of the year that we have for our yearbooks. And in brainstorming ideas like these, I began to wonder, what is it that professional marketers do to use social media and the internet to market for their clients? To answer these questions, I began my internship, which I actually had two parts. One was with a marketing firm called the Ivy Group, and the other was with a small business owner. I began my internship in Charlottesville at the Ivy Group with my mentor, Francisca Matuk. She has a bachelor's in marketing, commerce, IT, and linguistics from UVA, as well as a graphic design certificate from PVCC. I went to the Ivy Group to learn about social media and blogging. And while I was there, she gave me a list of 5 of their clients. And she said, here, make some fake posts for each of these clients that we could use on Facebook or Twitter. And she explained to me that a certain percentage of your posts should be dedicated to advertising, while the other percentage should just engage your clients. So if you were a hardware store, 50% of your Facebook posts would say, hey, we're having a 20% discount this weekend on plywood. But the other half would say things like, here's an article on tips for painting your deck. So I researched the 5 clients and made 2 posts for each of them, handed them to her, and she actually ended up using a few of them. So here's an example of one. The client was Pantops Shopping Center. I had to find out which stores were in the shopping center, and I chose Permanent Pantops. This is an example of one of those articles that would just engage your customer rather than advertise towards them. And I figured if they're at Permanent Pantops, then they'd like to know about ways pets keep you healthy. Here's an example on Twitter. The client was Seminole Square, and since it was August, I chose actually Furniture Home Store, but since it was August and we were in Charlottesville, I decided, hey, college kids are moving into UVA right now, so why don't we advertise dorm decorations? The other part of my internship was with my first client, Mr. Bobby Ragland. He owns Backwoods Photography and Backwoods Skateboards. I wanted to use both inbound and outbound marketing with Bob to broaden his audience on Facebook especially. So for both Backwoods Photography and Backwoods Skateboards, I made 1 to 3 posts per week on his Facebook pages. I also redesigned one of his websites for him. And for Backwoods Photography, I actually did a photo shoot with him so that we could upload the pictures of me onto his page and engage people of my age, because I'm a senior and people are looking for senior pictures right now. So we actually got a few responses back of my friends who wanted to use him for their senior pictures. For Backwoods Skateboards, other than Facebook posts, I also sold t-shirts and stickers to promote his brand. Here's an example of one of the posts that I made on Backwoods Photography. And here is an example of one on Backwoods Skateboards. And as you'll see, here's another one that's just engaging and entertaining your customer, whereas the other one was promoting a sale. I actually used Facebook sends you a report every week on your total number of page likes, and you'll see that they're all green except for that one that's in red. And that just means that the week that this report was for, we had 2 fewer page likes than the week before. And that just really emphasizes how much you have to keep updating your pages, because your viewers lose interest really quickly. So I used the statistics from Mr. Ragland's Facebook pages to actually support the thesis in my research paper. So my experience with him was actually a case study. So you've heard me saying inbound and outbound marketing. Let me explain what those terms mean. Inbound is more indirect. So the consumer would actually have to go out of his or her way to learn about your brand or your company. And examples of that would be search engine optimization, which is SEO up here. And that's where they Google your business name, and your business name is higher up on the list. So that's a really important tool. Also, social media is a form of inbound marketing because they would have to go out of their way to look you up on Facebook or Twitter. Outbound marketing is known to be a little more bothersome to customers because you feel pestered. You don't necessarily want to know about the brand. Examples would be telemarketing, radio and TV commercials, things like that, where you might appreciate what they're telling you, but then you might also want them to stop calling your house. So my thesis actually said that a combination of the two is actually better than just picking one or the other. The reason being, they hit different audiences. So inbound marketing is targeted a little more towards younger people and people who use the internet more, whereas outbound is more for people who may not use the internet as much, or the older age groups. So by combining the two tactics, you hit far more people. I had 3 parts to my community service. I helped 4 students in my class market their events. I started with Kat, and I decided we would use both inbound and outbound to promote her project, which was to create a lacrosse team. Here you can see our outbound method, which we created lacrosse bats and we hung them up around the school and in bathroom stalls, because while you're in there, you really have nothing better to do than to read that fact that's posted in front of you. And that actually generated a little bit of buzz. People were wondering, who's posting these facts, and are we going to have a lacrosse team? For inbound, I helped her set up her Twitter account to promote lacrosse interest here at LC, and I also made her a guide on how to professionally run your Twitter account, which is in the packet that I handed you. Furthermore, I helped Ms. Breon Washington create a Facebook page to raise prizes for the residents at Louisa County Health and Rehab, because they were winning prizes that they either couldn't use or didn't want. So we wanted to raise prizes for them. This is an example of a post just saying what you can and cannot donate and where to donate the prizes. And for Slam and Jam, created by Noah and Tyson, I made them a Facebook guide, which is in that packet, because they actually wanted to make their Facebook page themselves. And so I just wanted to help them out on how to run that. So I gave them that guide. Of course, I sported my Slam and Jam t-shirt at school, a form of outbound marketing. And I actually sold tickets at the event for a few hours. I was personally impacted by this in many ways. First of all, I learned how to be tenacious for sure, because if you haven't noticed, there aren't many marketers in Louisa, much less around Louisa. So I actually made a lot of phone calls and sent a lot of emails that were either just rejected or unanswered in order to find a mentor. But in the end, because I kept contacting people, I did find a mentor, and I had an awesome internship experience. Regarding marketing, I learned that your client might not always want what you give them. You'll notice that I didn't use an outbound marketing method for Breon's project. And that's because I made a flyer to hang up around the school, which would have reached the 1,500 people here. So, and they would have been informed of the prize drive. But we gave the flyer to the teacher whose room the prizes were going to be donated to, and she didn't like what was written on it, so she began to edit it. But she never finished making her changes, and we kept talking to her about it, and she just wouldn't finish. So in the end, we weren't able to post the flyers, and that outbound method was not put out there. And if it had been, far more people would have heard about it, and we would have had much better results with donations. At 3 Legacies, I helped market Slam and Jam, which raised $800+ for the Art Center. I made the Louisa Bingo Prize Drive Facebook page, which is going to be ongoing so people can donate prizes for years to come. And although Kat was unable to actually create a lacrosse team here, if one is created in the near future, it will be due largely in part to her efforts and my efforts to market that. From here, I plan to go to William & Mary, where I'm considering majoring in marketing. And I would like to thank my mentors, my advisor, and everyone who's a part of BRBGS, because it's been an amazing experience and I really wouldn't change it for anything. So thank you, and are there any questions? Over here.
The classes you take,